What's up, everybody? I'm Scott,
I'm Jason.
and you are listening to Liquid Kernedge. Well, that was a very excitable "I'm Jason."
Yeah,
Are we still working on how to getting that name
yeah,
pronouncement out of the
I'm
show?
working on it, but some days I just feel blah, and today I feel energized. I feel great. It's a wonderful day.
Well, that's
Yeah.
great. It must be because you had a great long weekend. We are rolling off the Labor Day weekend, staring down fall.
Yes. Yeah.
It's been ungodly hot here and dry in Arizona. Very, very few monsoons, and we've been hitting record temps. In fact, I think this was the hottest summer on record for Arizona, if what I read was correct.
And
And
yet in all that, today I went for my exercise run today. It was only 83 degrees in the morning, so it felt like it was just like a cool off period. Like it was so wonderful.
So we should tell everybody that we are recording this on Monday since we have the day off. We have our fantasy football draft in an hour. And within the next 12 hours, our EP Tom, who lives in Denver, will be going from 94-degree weather to a snowstorm.
Oh God. Yeah.
Did you see
No.
that?
No.
Yeah, it is 94 degrees as a high in Denver today, and tomorrow they're predicting between 6 and 12 inches of snow.
Holy crap. Yeah, that's insane.
Does that not seem a little weird to you that would be just that big of a transition? Like just so fast?
Yeah, I remember that from Denver when I lived there before, is that you'd have 80-degree weather in the morning, and then you'd get this huge thunder and snowstorm that afternoon. Like it just came up out of nowhere. And I remember that. So maybe it's just because of the elevation.
Yeah, maybe. Well, to all of our listeners in Colorado, I guess put your shorts away, get your jacket out for a couple days, and wait it out. I'm sure you'll be back to summer temps in no time.
Let's hope.
So how are you, my friend?
I'm okay. I'm having Noreen is having a little bit of a tough time this week. She actually had to go to Tucson. Her parents, one of the parents, is having some health issues that are pretty serious, and part of that discussion is not only getting them back to a normal to a healthier state, but it's also the tough decision of, okay, we're at a point in our lives when we need to start looking at maybe moving into out of the house they've been living in for 47 years and into like an assisted living facility. And so it's been a rough weekend for her because, she's dealing with her parents who are, they're older, they're scared, the unknown is coming up. And when you're closer to the end than to the beginning, it gets a little bit more real. So it's been kind of an emotional weekend for us, but it got me thinking, like, I want I do want a long life, but sometimes I wonder if I'd be willing to give up a portion of my long life in order to not have to go through this sort of life, which is diminished, not in total control anymore of what I can or can't do, and having to make a decision like that. So it kind of got me thinking, the value of life. Are you a quality or quantity kind of guy? And so, with everything going on, I thought it'd be a good topic to bring up to you to see, well, what kind of guy are you? Are you quality of life or quantity of life?
I think it's a combination, because I think everybody at some point has, their ups, their high quality moments in life, and then they have their downswings, I guess is a nicer way to put it, in life. We all know that we don't get out of this thing alive. It's
What?
Yeah, I know.
What?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh no! Oh no!
Some people save money like they're going to live forever. Some people act like they're going to live forever, and they die at 25. They die at 30. It's just,
I'm blown away. I just found out a couple weeks ago there's no Santa Claus too.
Well, I don't have funny a tooth fairy, but you just keep on believing. You just keep on believing, buddy. Journey was right. Don't stop believing.
Don't stop believing. That's right.
Stop believing. Yeah, I think it's everyone values that differently, and I guess it comes down to subjective. It's a subjective idea of what do you consider quality.
Yeah, because I would imagine that, I know some elderly people that have all the money in the world, but physically they're not able to do anything with it. So they can't travel, they can't, so you save all this money and then you get to a point where you can't really use it for anything.
Yeah, you can't take it with you. That's something my parents always say to us. They can't take it with them. So they're trying to enjoy themselves now, but it gets to a certain point though where maybe you can have some quality and quantity of life. I think there is a happy medium to it. I mean, if you were going to live to a certain age, what do you consider your ideal death age to be? Like you hit a point like you'd be like, all right, I'm good. I've lived my life. I've seen my stuff. I'm tapping out.
Well, I think for myself, there would definitely have to be a level of accomplishment in it. So, um, you know, like dying now, I don't feel like it would be a fulfilled life because I've left so many things out on the table. But dying at 97, basically isolated to a bed where I'm not moving, or I think that might be a little too long. So, I'm not quite sure the answer to that. I guess I would like to be able to have my mental capacity determine that. Like I've always wondered, it must be really hard for someone who has Alzheimer's, who physically they're healthy, but they have their mental capacity is going away. That's got to be
Yeah.
a really hard life because you're physically there, but you're not.
Well, and I think Alzheimer's generally is more of a late stage, late life disease that you get. I know some people get it earlier, but I think it's more of the elderly that get it, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the age is, but I guess so. I guess I would say that there would be a happy medium where I would say I'd like to be to a ripe old age where I still have some mental capacity and I still have the physical abilities to do activities. And I
Yeah,
don't know
I
what
like
the
that.
answer is to that because some people might say, hey, Jason, you're mentally at 48, you're mentally disturbed. So I'm losing
Yeah,
my mental capacity now, but I want to live a little longer if I can.
yeah. I don't. If I lose my mind, I don't mind losing my mind. It's not my problem at that point. I'm not going to remember anyway. I guess
Oh, interesting.
from
Okay.
my from my perspective, you have to have a sense of humor about it. So if you're not going to remember anything, that's either going to be the state's problem, the nursing home's problem, or some lucky friend or person's problem. And I'm it's Walter's problem. It's going to be Walt's problem. That's what it's going to be.
Okay, so I'll put it to you this way. Would you rather have mental acuity but diminished physical, or physical acuity and diminished mental?
Define diminished. Like, am I still able to move around if I'm physically diminished? Like, I still have some movement and some motor actions, or I'm
I'll give you a perfect.
confined
Okay,
to
let's
a
do it
bed.
this way. You are physically able to walk around, do everything, but you're legally blind.
Hmm. Uh, shit. That's a good one. Yeah, I think I'd be okay with that if it came to that point. I'm gonna take a page on my mom's playbook right here. She has to have a cataract surgery at some point, but she's hoping the technology advances to where she'll have night vision cataract lenses put in, or eye lenses. So I'm gonna go with that. That I'm gonna bank on by the time we get to that point, and I have to have my contact or my eye lenses replaced or whatever. I hope technology will allow me to be able to see again. So I'd be okay with some kind of disability like that as long as I stay mentally sharp.
Okay, so mental acuity is more important than physical acuity.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're talking like if you get ALS or something like that, where you're basically a prisoner in your own body, oh man, the best thing you do at that point is just take me out to the lake and just accidentally let me slide off of the
Just
boat.
let you roll in, let you roll in.
Ah, dude, I cannot think of anything more claustrophobic than being stuck in your own body and not being able to move or do anything.
Well, and then you couple that with look at Stephen Hawking.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like he was in a wheelchair for basically the majority of his life, and yet because his mental acuity is there, he turned that into, uh, you know, so many successful accomplishments, um, despite of his physical ailment.
yeah, but unlike Stephen Hawking's, I'm not some astrophysics genius. I just have a smart mouth and a quick wit, so I'm not sure that translates into a long-lasting life for people that want to take care of me in a wheelchair.
Well, you could type it though. You could type it in your little computer.
Yeah, The problem is by the time I get to type it, because I'm still a hunting pecker at 39
Oh,
years
I see.
old.
Okay. In that case, then, yeah.
So I can't imagine being a natural typer with my eyes, trying to type the right words, and the swipe thing. I'm not sure how it works when you're doing that. So any kind of witty retort would be lost in the moment, just based on time itself.
Well, and just recently, just within the last couple of weeks, that Chadwick Boseman,
Oh, Chadwick Boseman, yeah, the Black
the
Panther.
Black Panther, no one knew that he was sick. He kept it all to himself, continued to make movies, and then all of a sudden we get a notice that he died of prostate cancer.
Yeah, well, it was colon cancer, I
It
thought.
was prostate cancer, yeah.
Oh,
But
either way, though, I was reading that he was so convinced he was going to beat it that he was preparing to start training for the Black Panther 2.
and so here's the thing. So he found out 4 years ago that he had this cancer, stage 3.
Mm-hmm.
He made a conscious decision not to let it stop him from continuing to live his life. And he made so many movies in this 4 year period before his death that he is remembered for. So even though he had a short life, he lived life to the fullest. And is it okay to live life a short life but live it to the fullest versus a long life and not accomplish anything?
I think so. What's that phrase? It's better to burn out than fade away.
Interesting.
Maybe that's a case right here where nobody wants to burn out, nobody wants to fade away. But if you're going to go unexpectedly, at least you can leave your mark on the world with something you'll definitely be remembered by.
Yeah, and everyone handles it differently, right? I mean, some
Mm-hmm.
people basically just wither away because they don't want to face, they can't face the prognosis, and so it's easier just to kind of take it negatively or positively.
Yeah, I think that's what people get so hung up on. I know my mom was one of them for the longest time, that you have to eat healthy, you have to exercise, you have to do all these things because you want to stay alive for as long as possible. But at the end of the day, you're still gonna die. And she's coming around to that fun. I was like, well, you might as well have some fun. Eat the meal, cheat on the meal, go do the things, go do the stuff, because you're not gonna live forever. So if you feel like you've lived a high quality enough life up to a certain point, you can start getting a little bit more reckless to kind of add to that, And I say reckless, maybe that's not the right word for it. You can live maybe a little bit more less strict or stringent than you did through the majority of your life.
Well, and so that leads to the next question. For you, is it better to live full out in your early days, spend money, and then not have anything for the long term, but had a good time in the short term? Or are you the other way where I'm going to save, I'm going to save, I'm going to sacrifice for longevity?
I'm going to find balance. I'd like to think I'm going to live for quite a while, but I'm not going to sit there and sacrifice my youth and my ability to go out and do things because I need to save for when I'm older.
Yeah, like my dad, basically any dollars that he got, he just spent it. He just didn't think that he would live that long, so I'm just going to spend it. But then at the end, when he could have used extra resources to help him through his physical ailments, he didn't have the money to do it. So, he just said, "Well, I lived my life young and fast, and when I was young, I enjoyed it, and when I was older, I didn't have anything to help me, but at least I lived during young." And I'm kind of like you. I want a balance. Like I don't mind having fun, but at some point, that sense of security and safety is an important factor especially as you get older.
Well, I'd like to be able to maintain my level of living when I am older, and that dictates that I do save money along the way. Mm-hmm. So I have something to invest in and spend,
Right, yeah. And
so let me ask you this question.
Spend smart too, right? I mean, like, don't buy extravagant cars, all the time, and yeah.
Yeah, don't buy houses, don't buy new trucks every couple of years. I get that.
Yeah, don't buy new trucks every couple of years. Yeah, exactly. I mean, those people, they're never going to have any money.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Always be broke. Well, let me ask you this then with this. If you had the option of knowing how long you're going to live, like you were born and we know the clock starts ticking, but you saw when the clock expires, whether it be 20 years, 40 years, 60 years, 80 years, would that affect how you live your life? Would that change your mindset?
Yes, I think it would change my mindset. But I think I would be depressed, because I would think that if I already knew the time, then does that mean that none of my actions really matter? Like it doesn't really
Well,
matter what I do if I know that I'm going to die at 62,
mhm.
right? Then that means in my younger days I can party, do drugs. It doesn't matter, right? Because I have no choice in that. I have no way to alter that. I'm dead at 62.
Okay, well let me rephrase that then. That way, this might clarify it more. If you don't do anything, if you lived a clean life, a straight edge life, no drugs, no alcohol, and basically just stayed sheltered your entire life, and you knew your death date, the death age, I should say. I mean, will that change anything? Versus, but that means you could still run the chance of dying sooner by partying, accidents, whatever else. The same struggles we have today.
I think it would change. I think I would procrastinate though,
Mm-hmm.
in my younger days. I do feel like it would change something, and I think I might be a procrastinator in the early days. Like, oh, I got plenty of time, and then as I got closer to the end, then I'd feel a mad rush to try to fit something in, to you know to
Yeah.
fix it. How about you? What do you think?
I don't know. I remember when I was a kid. You remember the movie Weird Science?
Yeah.
It was a short-lived TV show back in the mid '90s,
Oh, it was? Oh, I
and
didn't know that.
yeah, it was a bad sitcom on cable TV. And one of the episodes, they knew, the two guys knew when they would die. One was going to live to be 90, and one was going to die in the next 2 weeks. And when the one found out he's going to live to 90, he went out, he lived his life to the fullest. The one that was going to die in 2 weeks didn't have any idea how he was going to die, so he basically became a shut-in.
Oh, okay.
So, there's two lines of there's just the two lines of looking at it. How do you want to spend those last moments of your life knowing that you have, a week left or 2 weeks left, and you're able to go out and do whatever you want to go do?
Yeah, yeah. I think that actually in real life, there's a lot of families that deal with that. Like they know they have less than 6 months to live, so they go on a big trip or they do something, to
Yeah,
celebrate life before the death, so that they can at least say that they did something memorable.
yeah. It's an interesting concept too. Some people want to leave their friends and family with those fond memories, and others just want to kind of be a shut in and not bother anybody or be bothered by anybody and just die quietly. It's a weird juxtaposition.
Now, I think this would be a fun dilemma. What if the clock, you find out when your death date is, but then every action in your life modifies that time? So, so you start drinking heavy on the beach one weekend, and then you lose 3 years of your life.
Well, isn't that kind of, yeah, yeah? There's a Justin Timberlake movie like that too with Amanda Seyfried, where the amount of time they were alive is basically currency.
Right, but you can buy and sell the time. But I'm saying, like, you have a drink tonight and your
Mm-hmm.
clock goes down 30, or you exercise and your clock goes back up.
Oh man, that'd be too much anxiety for me.
Stretch out a little bit.
You talk about a yo-yo diet. People that do keto or do whatever else. When you start factoring how long you're gonna live, what a fucking way to go, man! Like I can't go to this concert because it's gonna shave off 5 years of my life. Well, hell, that's a good concert to go to. You might as well go because that's 5 years you weren't going to use anyway.
So let me ask you this. Think of the one activity that you enjoy more than anything else.
Uh huh.
And if you found out that you were losing 10 years of your life expectancy because of that activity, would you stop doing
I
it?
was I was just told no.
Oh, die, bitch, die.
Janice is recorded. Janice is sitting next to me as we record this, and clearly we know what that activity would be. And if it took 10 years, like I get maybe one or two more shots and I'd be dead. So,
Yeah.
if this is the last you hear of me, well, hey, I had a good run.
Exactly.
I'm not going to make it to Wednesday, and it's already Monday, so Monday afternoon.
You know,
You know,
and I've been doing a lot more reading lately, and I read a book about emotions, the positive and negative of certain emotions. And in the book, they reference a lot to Socrates, who said that basically the human body is like a suppressor of the soul, and that everything that he learned over the course of his life was building his soul, that when he eventually would die, his soul would be released.
Well,
And
that's not bad.
so if you partake in that, then basically, like you said, everyone's going to die anyways. Fill your life up as much as you can so that when you do die, your soul has something that gets released into the universe.
It's interesting.
And so, if you live a short life, then maybe your soul filled up with everything that it could be, and your body no longer wanted to hold that in. It had to go. Like remember Kobe Bryant. I mean, it's like he had this amazing career in basketball, but it sounded like his afterworks after basketball were turning into foundations, and he was writing children's books and all these things that he started to develop. And he died a very early death. 42 is not that old.
Yeah.
But some would argue he lived a pretty full life for 42, and I argue, man, he left so much that he didn't even accomplish. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
he left so much out there that he never was able to do. That's what makes it tragic to me. And other people say, "Oh my gosh, he had a great baseball career or basketball career, and he had a family, and he lived so much life in such a short amount of time."
Yeah, I think the way he went though too was more of a tragic way, as it were, because he had a young family, lost his daughter with him in that helicopter crash. So that's definitely not the way to go.
Yeah,
and it's hard, man. I don't think you want to go at that age, especially the young family. That's never ideal.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine that is. I mean, so if you had a choice being a short full life or a long average life, what would you want?
Well, I'm already hitting middle age, so let's go for a long average life because it's completely on the upswing right now. So let's keep it going that way.
Okay, so the longer you live, the more of an opportunity that could go from average to extraordinary.
Yeah.
That's the story you're sticking with. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, it's been kind of a depressing show. So let's talk about something fun. You mentioned you were reading a book. We also picked up a book over the weekend, but we are more in the fiction world right now. And I know you're still reading all the happy real life things, aren't you?
I just finished a book about the 200 years that Rome ruled over Jerusalem, and that was a very interesting read. And then now I'm reading a book. I'm reading a book about the cocaine industry.
The cocaine industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, what about like how to become the next Pablo Escobar?
No, but it basically talks about how the drug industry has unfolded in Mexico since the late 80s, and it's like a historical reference to the drug cartels of Mexico.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what are you reading?
We picked up a book by Max Brooks, the guy who wrote World War Z.
Oh.
Called Devolution, the first-hand account of the Green Loop Sasquatch massacre, and it's basically like it's an allegory for the pandemic going on right now.
Okay.
Survival. It's like a few, like, what's the best way to describe it? A techie builds the perfect community in Washington, and Mount Rainier erupts.
Uh-oh.
And they're out of the way of Mount Rainier, but it's killing all the animals around, and it's killed thousands of people. And these people are basically cut off from civilization. They have no way to get in, no way to get out, because the founder of the community made everything technology based, and they have no way to reach the outside world. The bridges that they used to get to their community have been burned. They're stuck. They don't realize they're stuck, and now as a group of Sasquatches are being forced to come through because of the volcano explosion, and they basically massacre the entire community.
Okay,
And
yeah, you kind of
it's
lost.
covered up by the government.
You lost me at the Sasquatch. It would sound like a really interesting book until the Sasquatch, and then it's like, oh no.
I'm telling you, it's all based on it's all written and from a lady's journal, and it's one of the residents' journal, and it's all about survival. And they're starting to pick up where we're at. They're starting to pick up on animals are disappearing. They're not sure why. They're starting to see shadows in the night in the trees and smelling the smell, and they have no idea what's coming. They're starting to pick up on it. But this basically, they find her journals a year later, and the government basically covered up the Green Loop massacre as just part of the explosion, part of the eruption. So it's good. It's a really good suspenseful book. If you ever read World War Z, his first book, is a really well written story, and I think you'd actually enjoy this.
Okay, well maybe I'll look at it. I love reading. There's some books that I struggle through reading, and other ones that I read really easily. And so I might have to pick that one up then.
It's a good read.
I have one more thing that I want to talk about with you, and I hope that you appreciate it. Remember, for my birthday, I got a distilling pot still for distilling.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm only distilling water or essential oils because the distilling of alcohol is illegal in the United States.
Yeah.
However, I was making up my oil batch, and I put some potatoes and sugar in it instead of the oils. And so, unfortunately, I have this sugar mixture that's basically fermenting right now by mistake. I don't know how I did it. But it is currently.
Did you accidentally make vodka?
I'm accidentally making some vodka, and I am in the stages of it. It's fermenting right now. Probably in the next 3 to 4 days, it'll be ready to turn into an essential oil through my still. Oh
wow.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm getting dangerously close to batching my first batch of essential oil.
Oh wow, good for you.
Yeah. So
are you going to be able to wear it, like put it behind your ear when you're feeling nauseous
to
help relieve that nauseous?
I like to make my oils drinkable, potable.
That's good.
So you can so that you can drink the oil, because the oil, it can be inside your body as well.
Yeah, it's true. So that's going to be. I'm curious to see how this goes.
Yeah, and because it would be a potato based. It's going to be called Lick the V.
Licked V.
Lick the V.
Lick the V.
Yeah.
All right, we'll add that to the product line.
Yeah, so we got Lick the V, we got Lick Tit, and then we'll have to come up with what we're going to call the corn and malt essential oil. We'll have to come up with something like that.
I could say something right now, but it wouldn't work for most guys. They wouldn't want to buy it at that point. So we'll just
Wow. Okay. So we're going to work on that, but my essential oil is coming in. It's coming along really nicely. I just had to put that out there because our executive producer has been giving me some pointers on how to make essential oils. And so I really appreciate that. And this potato-based essential oil should be coming out probably next week. I'll probably have my first essential oil tasting for our next episode.
No, well, I'm curious to see how that goes.
Yes, me too.
So as we wrap up the show, tell us what you did on your Labor Day weekend. Did you go out? Did you have a good time? Did you stay in and self-isolate? Just drop us a line and let us know what you did and how you're doing. Hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, all at Liquid Kernedge. Our EP, Tom, is currently going from 94 degrees to 6 to 12 inches of snow on Tuesday of this week. So if you want to taunt him for leaving Arizona and going to Colorado, hit him up on Instagram and Twitter, all at Liquid_EP.
Well, and hey, big shout out. Live the fullest life you can. Have some fun. We're having fun. We're living our full lives. So continue on. May you have a long life. Have a great time. Do the things that maybe aren't the healthiest, but make you feel good. So go for it.
That's it. All right, brother. Take us home.
All right, everyone. Hey, thanks for listening. We enjoy you. Thanks for being part of our family. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Kernedge.